welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at gods5minutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. The book of James gives us this exhortation concerning governing our tongues and the consequence of the misuse of words. James 3:5. Even so the tongue is a little member and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. And so is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. Speech is often loose. Most people set less watchful care on the door of their lips than of their actions, but it would be so wise to watch the inner gate, which leads from thought to speech, as well as the outer one, which leads from speech to act. Idle words, rash words, unconsidered words, free-flowing words make up much of our conversation. His tongue ran away with him. Oh, that's too often true. It is hard but possible, and it is needful to keep a tight control on the tongue. All of us know how a small spark can set a great forest ablaze. Drop a match or a spark in the dry tinder of a forest floor during the hot summer season, and the bleeping blaze can ignite a crown fire in which the roaring flames leap from tree to tree faster than a person can run. The rush of oxygen into the inferno superheats the air, and people are suffocated from its want, or worse, have their lungs seared from the terrible heat as they suck in the hot gases in a desperate effort to breathe. And all of it can come from a single spark. This devastating picture is the one James has set before us of the work of a human tongue. James' next comment teaches, besides how hot, how unlimited is the damage done by thoughtless, willful, malicious talk. The words once spoken are so hard to retract. Getting them gathered up, rather, is like tearing the end from a pillow and scattering the feathers in a tornado, then trying to get them all back from the corners and crevices into which they've been driven. They become a world of iniquity, reaching far out to poison souls who should never have been so much as involved in the gossip they spread. As Shakespeare wrote, "Who steals my purse steals trash, 'tis something, nothing, 'twas mine, 'tis his, and has been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name robs me of that which not enriches him, and makes me poor indeed." Let us beware of our tongues, for unlike the fire, which is natural and innocent in its burning, our tongues spread not ashes of burned wood and grass, but iniquity, which sin must be recorded in God's book against our souls, to be faced at the day of our judgment. Nor is that all. This iniquitous speech, so easily and often thoughtlessly spread into the ears of so many, does not only contaminate those hearts into which it is spread, but it defiles the body of the unhappy sinner who yielded his tongue to empty the dark treasure of his heart. To defile the body in this sense means to defile the flesh. And the message is that when we give ourselves to careless use of our tongues, the thought patterns, the responses for lashing back upon us from the wounds so casually or maliciously inflicted, cause us in turn to become ourselves poisoned through and through, so that at last the gossip and careless talker becomes consumed with passionate lust of story and counter-story, conflict and malice. Foul speech heard in schools or places of business, read in filthy books, heard in the world's entertainment venues, has polluted many a life and kindled fires which have destroyed people, body and soul. Lustful speech, immodest speech, vulgar speech are the coin of the realm so much in use today, and it is to the shame of our culture that it is so. People lewdly speak publicly of the private functions of intimacy, or heedlessly use the sacred names given to us from the holiest places in divine service as bywords or adjectives by which they expect to give their words more force, not considering the solemn declaration from the very throne of God that he will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Friends, let's ask God to help us be careful in our speech. Have you talked to him today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at godsfiveminutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.